The moment that I enter into the forest, it's for me like coming home. As I grew up, I was always out in the forest, so I always had this very close connection to nature from early childhood on. To me, canids have always been something that draw my attention. I did a master's thesis on wolves in the Yukon Territory in Canada. When I came back, I wanted to continue doing something with wolves in Europe. By then, I didn't know anything about Romania.
I never felt lost or scared in the forest. It always was something I wanted to explore. I wanted to see what's behind the next tree. I considered myself very lucky that being out in nature was part of my life really early on. Christoph and me actually met here in Romania. I was still a student, just purely interested in wolves and was looking for a project where I could experience wolves. And Christoph by then was already running a conservation project here in Romania. And we spent a lot of time outside chasing these wolves, and we heard them howling. It was really magic. This is when we, I think, fell in love.
We just never left because it was never a reason to leave. This is the most beautiful country in Europe. And this is the last place in Europe where we can really see how nature was before people started to change it.
There was a lot of people that told us when we got children, and they were concerned, that children will be isolated. But the biggest benefit of educating our children at home was by being out and interacting with wildlife, interacting also with a lot of other people. There was always a big exchange about a variety of topics. I think that really opened their minds.
I think there's something incredibly peaceful about walking through a virgin forest and knowing that you could bump into a wolf or a bear at any time.
I've learned a great deal from the forest about the ecological footprint we humans have on nature.
And also the fact that the kids have their classes here is a very, very nice thing.
I definitely enjoyed being homeschooled. They taught us much more than we could have ever learned in school. I did 4 years of primary school in Romania, then I was homeschooled until the 10th grade, and then I did 2 years of high school in Germany to finish my A-levels, so I can really compare 3 different kind of school systems. And my impression was that the homeschooling taught me most about myself and about just living.
My parents taught me a lot about nature and conservation.
I think our kids had a school of life. Like when we do a canoe trip, they have sports because they have to paddle. Geology because, they see rocks. Biology because there's wildlife around us. You're always learning because there's always something that you can learn.
I think you learn a lot about yourself because nature has a special way of teaching you who you are. You have much more space in the forest from living in a city. You don't have social pressure, so you learn a lot.
You have a lot of freedom and you learn a lot about yourself and about the world around you.
We have really built a life with our family, so we are not isolated even though we're living out in nature.
What we also realized was the economic possibilities for horse riding. So we built this guest house. People that come to us, they usually come as guests and they leave as friends, and that's good for us to hear.
There has always been a very close relation between these mountainous areas and people. The idea of preserving these forests for a longer generation was simply not there yet. These forests were considered like a bank account that they finally could use. And it took the past 10 years almost to protect these forests and maybe get the economic value in a different way.
When you do such a big project where you want to really create a big national park, it's always controversial and you always have other interests that are against the interests of conservation. There are situations where you think, oh my God, am I gonna continue? We've even faced the fact that people are trying to destroy us.
The biggest threat the Carpathian Mountains are facing at the moment are logging, We have tried to keep our children out of this fight with the timber mafia.
Where we are concerned is for our rangers. They have been threatened personally that they would burn down their houses. They've been violently attacked. They even had to use their arms in order to protect themselves. So this is where we're really concerned for, and this is where we set up also a system that they can be as safe as possible. Our way to manage this situation is, being out in nature and always reconnecting and coming down. That's probably what has saved us so far. In 2011, we signed the first contract to lease a hunting area of 13,500 hectares. Now, after almost 10 years, we see that this area has really come back to life. And that has really been a great journey to see that. In 2019, we bought the first properties in the community of Nuuksoara. Having land in this commune, we're part of the commune, so we went and presented ourselves to the mayor.
Munca lui Christoph and Barbara sunt convins că va conta în viitor și probabil că vom diversifica. Pentru viitorul Carpaților, prezența lui Christoph and Barbara poate fi semnificativă în sensul de a dezvolta și comunitatea noastră și
We have raised almost 100 million euro for this project, and this is all money that has gone into local communities. The foundation now offers jobs for over 100 people directly. The project that we started now 10 years ago has developed into something really big.
But we grew into it and are now totally into working to protect it. Romania is for sure one of the richest countries in Europe when it comes to the possibilities it still has. It has all it needs for all these challenges that we are facing when it comes to climate change, when it comes to the loss of biodiversity. Romania is the country that can tackle these issues. I think this is the vision we have, that we can show people what they have and how they can use it.
We hope that we can create something where the Carpathians can become the center of biodiversity, the center of nature again for all of Europe.
My parents are very social people and they have dedicated their entire life to preserving our world.
They've always been great teachers to us, and they still chase us up the mountains on hikes and to set up wildlife camera traps, and I'm still waiting for the day where I can keep up with them.
People can demonstrate that you can live next to nature and you have an advantage for both sides. All the other species are thriving and people are grounded in something that makes them happy.
I would really love to give this opportunity to my kids one day as well, because it's the best thing that can happen to them.
To me, the wilderness is a drug I couldn't live without.